Zero trust has come to dominate cybersecurity discussions, especially in light of the White House's executive order on cybersecurity. Agencies, of course, have been busy rationalizing their zero trust strategies and their access and identity management capabilities as the work from anywhere model became the new normal. But organizations are now exploring the next level of zero trust architectures and looking specifically for ways to enhance data protection and practices as data goes to the cloud, from clouds, and between clouds. I'm Wyatt Cash on behalf of Cyberscoop, and here to talk further about that is Donna Bennett, Chief Information Security Officer at the U.S. Department of State. Donna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So let me start by asking, how is the State Department approaching the goal of treating data as a strategic asset? And specifically, how are you leveraging or planning to leverage zero trust architecture and framework models to protect your data as it traverses from device to cloud and cloud to cloud?
Oh, this is a great question. Data and security go hand in hand, and that is why it's one of the most the data officer is one of the most closest partners that cybersecurity has. We have a chief data officer, and the question is so timely. The department recently released its first ever enterprise data strategy, which we built around treating data as a strategic asset to shape diplomacy and support our workforce. The department is taking a targeted approach to implementing the data strategy and focusing on key priorities as strategic competition and diversity, equality, inclusion, and accessibility with our data. And all that dovetails into the adoption of zero trust. This aligns with the requirements of the president's recent executive order on improving cybersecurity and adaptation of zero trust architecture. We are planning to deliver zero trust architecture in a multifaceted approach. The department itself is really honing in on the various assets that we currently have. We are a geographically dispersed organization, so we have assets all over the globe. And really looking at who's on the network, what they're doing on the network, what access they have to the data is really our goal as we look to implement zero trust.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for laying that out. Next, I'm curious, so thinking about how zero trust and endpoint security intersect, how has endpoint security evolved around users, their own devices, bring your own device idea, and then government furnished equipment over the last 12 to 20 months to coincide with the zero trust practices? And maybe if you would, how are you seeking to better secure data under these dual types of end user security models?
Now, the executive order emphasizes implementation of zero trust, which assumes a compromise, which requires consistent verification and prevention of compromise and limited lateral movement. The implementation of zero trust provides an optimized data management, simplified security architecture, consistent policies, and improved authentication and authorization across the enterprise. The department is prioritizing its modernization efforts to ensure secure access and protection of sensitive information. This includes and provides MFA, identification, authorization, and additional ways for users to access the department's network. And as you know that, when you have BYOD on the network, and any federal agency that has it, or any corporate agency that has it, where you have reached back into your environment, you have to make sure that you make sure that the device is authorized on your network to connect back to your corporate resources. And so that's one of the things that you look at when you're implementing zero trust into your environment.
And then lastly, Donna, the supply chain attack involving SolarWinds that compromised government and commercial IT networks really highlighted the ability for hackers to compromise certificates or root of trust between products, and they then move undetected across an enterprise. So I'd like to ask, what advice would you offer to organizations to protect their data from the idea of a parent trusted user in this case. And are you using behavior analytics and policies in new ways or enough to defend against these advanced so-called insider threats?
Yes, insider threat is a significant challenge for all organizations. And so you definitely have to use behavioral analytics, but you have to dovetail it with a number of different types of policies and procedures internal to your network. And one of the main tenets of zero trust is that, you assume that your network is compromised. And so that means that every single aspect, every connection, every person gets vetted that's on your network. And so this requires role development, testing, and tuning and insider threat detection strategies. And you have to have a number of details in your playbook in order to make sure that this is successful. I know that with, SolarWinds, it was more of, the supply chain from that aspect. But I think if we look at the life cycle development within the environment, we could definitely ensure that at every single step that there is some vetting that's associated with any type of product or any type of connection that's in your environment.
Absolutely. Well, Donna Bennett, thank you so much for joining us, sharing some of your insights about zero trust security and really the task ahead for securing data as it moves around the world, in your case, from clouds to cloud. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.